Hello, hello. I am here in case someone is already listening. We will be starting this very quickly. And oh, we already have listeners. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Let me see some hearts. Show me some love out there to see that you are listening. Aha, you can already hear me. Okay. We're a minute early. How's that for a Cuban? That's a very strange thing, although I am a stickler about that. And I welcome back to this incredible audio room and the post Christmas craziness that is now about to ensue. All right, we are here. I want to say hello. Like I said, make sure, by the way, that you, in case you didn't know, you can start your own audio rooms if you look at the bottom of your screens. Share this with whoever you can. And we have amazing guests today. My first guest is an actress, singer, songwriter, competitive dancer, entrepreneur, and host. This woman literally can do it all, people. So everyone get ready to take notes. Please welcome the multi-talented Christina Milian. Also, and with her EP Girl from Rio, she's the most streamed artist in Brazil and continues to dominate the pop charts. She's also one of the most tweeted about singers in 2021 and fresh off the Jingle Ball tour, not to mention fresh off of her incredible appearance on Red Table Talk, the Estefans, in this season that we had. It was so incredible. The amazing Anitta. And she's a 5-time Latin Billboard Award winner and has too many Grammy nominations to count, actually. And right now, she's currently on the road with her Perrísimas tour with Alejandra Guzman. She is truly a Mexican pop icon, and we are so lucky to have her live with us today. Welcome, Paulina Rubio. Now, I don't know if you know this, but you can host your own Facebook Live audio rooms like I'm doing right now. If you look right under your status bar and click room and choose live audio. Of course, don't do that now because you're on with us. But I would love to hear from our guests that are on right now. I see Christina Milian. Tag me, Christina. Are you there? Hello. Christina, is she there? Paulina. And where is everyone? Let's see. Well, I have another guest while we're waiting for these guests. Oh, they're still working on getting them. So since they're not there, I have a special guest that happens to be with me here, who I was so blessed. Let me start with my Christmas experience, everyone, because I don't know what happened at your houses, but our Christmas got really messed up by this dastardly Omicron variant. We have usually a big party every year at La Flaca's house, Lily, my niece. And this year, oh, there was a family outbreak. So we had to kind of venture off into our own worlds. And in my home, the tried and true people that were here were my son Naib, his wife Lara, and my grandson Sasha, who then got to stay over with me. So Sasha has been here since Christmas. Just say hello, baby.
Hello.
Say hi to everybody. And before we start, do you have any ideas of what you want to happen in 2022? Because we're talking about the new year.
To have a better year than this year.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
this year was pretty good, but you know.
definitely better is always good. I see Paulina is on. Hi, Pau. Are you there?
Hola! Hola,
Hola,
amor.
Paulina.
Hello, everybody. So happy to hear everybody.
Yes, indeed. Well, everybody is just you and me right now, but I'm sure that Christina and Anita will be joining us. So, ya que te tenemos aquí, let's start you and I because everybody's listening already. Okay, tell me, how was your Christmas? What did you do before we talk about next year?
Thank
Hello.
you.
Oh, wait, we see Anita. Anita is there
Hi,
too.
how
Hola,
you
Anita.
doing, Gloria? I love you.
I love you too, and we miss you. And thank you again for being on Red Table Talk, the Estefans. You really blew everybody
It was
away.
so good. It was so
And,
good.
and I know you've been busy, but right now, Paulina was about to give us a heads up about how her Christmas went. Tell us about it,
Hi,
Hola.
Paulina.
Paulina. Hi,
Hola,
Paulina.
Bella. Hola, Anita. Happy birthday, Gloria. ¿Cómo están todos? Pues, very, very happy to be back in Miami, back in the base after coming from all these different trips. I'm so blessed to be with my mom, to be with the family, to come back to basics, Gloria. Basically,
Yes,
pajamas, eating, having a blast with the family, playing, singing, you know, trying to unload.
exactly. And by the way, since both of you, well, all three of us, have spent most of our lives touring, and I would always try to get back to Miami for Christmas. As a matter of fact, I don't think I ever missed a Christmas on the road. How do you guys handle that? Anita, how do you handle being away on these special days? Or were
Right,
you? Did you make it
right now
home for
I'm in
Christmas?
Brazil. I'm in Brazil right now, and for many years I've been away from my family in these important dates, and for me it's really hard because my family is very big and we are very close to each other. Like my mom is my best friend, my dad is my best friend, so my aunties, my uncles, we're all so close. So I never again will let myself stay away from my family in these important days because it's so important for me and it's so beautiful, you know. So I came to Brazil and I'm here for until the 30th. I'm staying with my family all days. We've been together for like 4 or 5 days in a row and it was perfect.
That is so wonderful. And Pao, are you still living close to me? Because I know we our homes
Yes,
are
Mama, we're
just
here. I'm in the
yes,
neighborhood, and I'm very happy to be back and to have this amazing weather and
yes.
being able to swim and to connect with the elements because after up and down and after being in cautiverio for so long, it's just a blast to be back home with pajamas basically.
Yeah. We love those pajamas. And by the way, everybody, wherever you are, we don't mean to make you jealous, but the weather in Miami this week, the last 10 days really has been spectacular. I went out on the boat yesterday. I was
Mm.
teaching my little man here, my first mate. Sasha was learning a lot about the boat, and I'm teaching him from early on, like I did with Emily. I see Christina is on with us. Hi, Christina.
Yes, I
We,
made it. Oh my gosh. I was trying to figure it out, but I got it.
all
How you
right.
doing?
Paulina and Anita are on with us, and we already talked about like how was your Christmas before we move on
Hi,
to 2022.
Christina.
Hi, family. Hello, everybody. I'm so honored to be on the phone with all of you ladies.
Me too.
My Christmas was very good. You know, I have a new. It was the first Christmas for my new baby for my son Kenna, and so him and my almost 2 year old had like a good time just opening presents, and I got to visit some of my family. We didn't get to do a lot of like visiting too many people because you know the circumstances these days,
Oh
but
yeah,
to be honest with you, we made the most of it, and my nieces and nephews and my sons got to play, so it was perfect.
that is fantastic. And by the way, for me, the magic is all about the kids. You know, we
Yes.
relive these
Yeah.
very special moments through our kids. Pao, you have children as well, right?
Yes, I have Eros, 5 year old, and I have Nico, 11 years old, and it's all about that the joy, the piñata, the food, the gifts, and why not just to chill, just to being able to come down to these revolutions. No, it's hard for me the first days to 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 lower the rhythm, but little by little I start being myself again, a rasta girl.
All
Exactly.
right.
You know, I don't think people realize the adrenaline that goes along with being on tour and, you know, or shooting a movie or working or whatever it is that you're doing, that really coming back to life, to normal life, to organizing your closet or wrapping presents or cleaning up the house, you know, those things, it's a totally different world. And it is kind of like jumping back into a different reality. Before we go on, Pau, Anita, and Christina, just remember to share the audio room. If you look under the
All
status
right
bar, like
now.
if make sure you share with your
Yes,
fans so that they know that you're here.
for sure.
Um,
Definitely.
exactly. But let's get started with 2022 because you know, first of all, I kind of have a beef with New Year's resolutions. How do you all feel about that? Because I think they sometimes set us up for failure. And what I like to do personally is if there's something that I want to change or do in the new year, I start right away before the new year starts. So it's not like a big thing. So Anita, how do you
I
do
I
with your
feel
New Year's
exactly the
resolutions?
same. I feel exactly the same. I don't like to wait for something. Even when I'm like, let's suppose it's like, oh, start a diet or start like going to the gym or something like that. I don't wait until Monday, you know? I don't wait until the New Year's to change for me to start doing the things that I want for me in my life next year. So I just start before to make sure I will keep
Mm.
doing and keep, like committed to what I want. So I'm really like focused on enjoying my family, enjoying more like free time. I think living in Miami as my family is not there, it's really hard for me to maintain as we are like big friends, everyone. It's very hard for me to be away from them. So I just want this year for me to be closer, and that's what I started doing right now. I'm here with them all time with my mom, my cousins,
Hmm.
and they are coming with me to Miami. So I just think we are always like working too much and thinking
Hmm.
life is about results and numbers and the professions, and I think personal time is very important too.
I agree with you very much. How about you, Paulina? How are you with New Year's resolution?
Indeed. Indeed. Well, you know, I have this problem of being workaholic, and I'm aware of it at least, and I'm working on it because when you have the time to be with family and friends, I don't want to be looking at the phone and looking for other things that just enjoying the moment. And that is also a work. That is also important, and it challenged me in the beginning of the holidays because I have an eye in my phone and another eye with the family. So I try to put my phone away and try to. My mom did a basket, and she passes the basket, and we need to put the phone in the basket while we're having
That's
lunch or dinner.
amazing.
That's a great idea.
Amazing
Yeah, so
idea.
we love
Yes.
the basket.
A-
Yes,
And
yes.
Christina, you've got two babies, really. So I know that now probably most of your time is devoted to
Yes.
really handling that situation. How are you handling? Are you working right now at the time? Have you taken some time off? How are you with resolutions for next
You know
year?
what? For the first time, I actually took some time off. After both of my boys. So my husband, he's French, and so I actually just came back from France, and I've learned since I've been with him. I've just seen like just the difference between here in America and when you go to Europe, people actually take time
They
to
love,
to
yeah,
go on vacation, to go on holidays, to spend time with kids, or to actually like have time after you have your children to not rush into things.
yeah.
And so technically, these last 2 years, because it's been back to back for me, after having the kids, I've been very fortunate. I also was, this past year I worked a lot while I was pregnant, but after I had the babies, like we went out of town, and then after that, I just worked from my phone. I worked remotely over the phone. A lot of things are worked remotely, whether
Hmm.
it's Zoom and things like that. But to me, I also just got grounded with the kids. I went to parks and I played with the kids, and we went out and we did things. My daughter as well, she got into fitness this year. She's 11 years old, so out of nowhere she just decided she wanted to get in shape and eat right. So I've just been having fun doing stuff with them culminatively, and just having the goals of like having some balance where family and spending this time. I mean, honestly, the pandemic probably couldn't have in a way come at a better time to make sure that I was able to spend that type of time with my kids. And my goals are pretty much like year round. I set goals, and I go for it, and I let it happen gradually. And as far as resolutions, I kind of look back and reflect on what I would like to do going into the next year, but I feel like I do that constantly year round. So I think you shouldn't put too much pressure into, oh, January 1st everything is going to change and my life is going to be this. But I do think it's important to just year round always just be checking on yourself, and to grow, and to go for what go for what you feel in the moment.
Absolutely. I was very lucky that when I had my son, uh, we were very busy with the band, but it didn't really explode until he was 5 years old. And I was able to spend a lot of one-on-one time with him. And then later I took him on the road with me. I've taken my kids with me, which is a luxury that you have. But when Emily came along, that I was older, I said, I am going to slow down so that I can enjoy, taking her to school and going to her games. And that was some of my favorite things to do. And on the note of what you said about resolutions, I think that we need to live each day and make daily resolutions.
Yeah.
If we can really accomplish something in the day, small steps toward a broader goal. Sometimes it's frustrating to think, oh, I want to reach this goal, but you feel so far away from it that you give up sometimes halfway through. And I think if we just make daily goals about what we want to accomplish that day, it really does help to move forward. And I know that this pandemic, like you mentioned, has been a godsend in certain ways, because obviously I'm the kind of person that always tries to look for the silver lining, the what can be learned, how can I grow, how can I become stronger.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I loved about this pandemic was that I was able to declutter a lot of spaces in my house. Like, I got into the attic, took everything
Yeah.
down, put it in the garage, told Emilio not even to walk in there because he will get the heebie-jeebies seeing a mess. It took me weeks, but it was so fulfilling, so satisfying to organize
Absolutely.
everything, to look through things that were 30 years of stuff and put them in order. How about for you guys? Did you kind of experience anything like that? Paulina, let's go with you first.
The pandemic put in perspective everything, Gloria. Just not just the closet physically, but my inside closets, inside my soul. So I did a cleaning. Basically, I needed to get rid of things that they were not helping me to live. Like, I believe I am like a mobile, like a cell phone, that I download different apps, but I don't have much space anymore, and I need to delete a lot of apps that they're not working anymore for me. So the same way, in my head, there are things that I needed to get rid of, and I had the time to internalize myself. And I started from there, making space for me, for myself, with maybe toxic people, maybe friends that they were judging a lot. And well, I come from the closet to the closet of myself, and I clean a lot the air, and I open the windows inside me. So after the pandemic, I clean everything from the inside out. I don't know if you get it.
Oh, I completely get it. By the way, sometimes we're stuck in relationships or things that are no longer working for us, but just because sometimes it's very difficult to make
Yeah.
that change, we just let things slide. And time is so precious. We really have no time to waste. Anita, what about you? What are your thoughts on that subject?
For me, I also learned, for me, and during the whole pandemic thing, I was able to get to know my house better. Also, there were so many rooms in my house that I didn't know, to be honest. And I took advantage to take classes. I love learning stuff, like
Mm,
studying. So I was taking piano classes,
mm,
acting, French classes. I just love. And then I started like chill a little bit more, and that's when my thoughts and my mind started to realize how much like of a workaholic person I was, like
yeah.
always thinking about work, never leaving my cell phone, always like so pressure like to give results, and like, and every sometimes if anything went wrong in my life, or like, oh, for work they needed to change something, I would cancel any plans of vacation or any plans with my family. I would cancel to make the work work out,
Well,
The
so,
some
work
and
work.
now nowadays I don't do this anymore. I have my family time, I have my friends' time, and for if for some reason the work stuff needs to be changed, I won't cancel my family plans because of it. For me, is
Yeah.
the first place. And during the pandemic, that's what made me realize how important it is for me to put in the first place my personal time, and not like the work, all these things that we have, like money, success, the material stuff that we have. It's good, but it can't be the first place, the first priority in our lives, because otherwise we get crazy, and I realized I was getting very like anxiety and feeling pressure because of that, and now it's completely
Well,
changed.
that's very
That's
important.
great.
I think anxiety is the word for this whole time. And for our young generation that are getting bombarded by so many things, I totally agree. And we have to all remember that the day we leave this planet and we leave this earth, this life, you don't take anything with you
No.
material, nothing.
Exactly.
The only thing we leave behind is whatever love we leave in the hearts of the people that were special in our lives. And
Hmm.
it's important to dedicate that time to them. Christina,
Indeed.
tu, tu parles français maintenant?
Ah, un petit peu.
Ah,
I
how's,
have taken my French lessons for sure, but sometimes it's one ear out the other when I go travel back and forth. But I will say for me, one of the things I like to practice year round, I've kind of come from a family where, like, when we have nothing and then all of a sudden you have everything and people are sending you so much stuff and you're getting stuff, you practically hoard things and you're like
Yeah.
hoarding things. And then you're like, so many memories kind of like are attached to things. And then
Yeah.
as time progresses and you have kids and you need to make space, I think it's important. I was also raised, regardless of the hoarding part, like organized hoarding. It's also a sense of like make sure they say cleanliness is godliness, and you find clarity in that space. And
Indeed.
I've actually found myself to be more comfortable these days now. Like I look at things and I'm like, I haven't touched that in so long. It's been 10 years. It's been 2 years. It's been 3 years. I've been holding on to this outfit, or I've been holding on to all of these like these candles that I'm not. I find that if if you just give yourself the time and the space to kind of like realize, like if it's been a certain amount of time that you haven't touched something, or you haven't, or it's just taking up space, it's nice to just go on and get rid of it. It's just purge. It's just like let it go.
Hmm.
And there's always somebody else that could use it. Like my mom,
Yeah.
she's the queen of like collecting things that we're getting rid of. And then after that, she's giving it. And then of
Moms.
course,
that's
I'm
my
like, Mom,
husband. That's my
and I
husband.
even stopped giving stuff to her because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to allow you to continue to hoard these things to be able to reorganize it and then send it away. And then your house is like, and then you're complaining of aches and pains and moving things and all that stuff. All of this stuff is just like all that clutter. It becomes very heavy on you. So I've gotten to a place in my life where I definitely like get rid of things, and I'm like cleaning, and I'm always kind of like just going through things like closets and stuff. And it's actually a lot of fun. I feel like it's therapeutic. I get quiet. Sometimes I play a little music. The kids might be downstairs with their dad or something like that. And I mean, he can't say anything to me when I'm getting rid of stuff because he loves to get rid of stuff. And I'm like, don't get rid of that. Don't get rid of that. But then I started to kind of like take on this approach that I'm like, it's okay. But I'm in control of that though.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not going to
We,
let him do
yeah,
it.
we're the opposite here because my husband has something that I call the immigrant mentality.
Uh-huh.
He came to this country, went to Spain first, spent a year there. They were pretty much living, him and his dad, in a hostel and, going to soup kitchens for food. And he started this band working for tips in restaurants with his accordion. So every little thing that he has acquired, he always wants to stash it just in case because
I
Cubans lost
totally understand.
everything. We lost everything. And so he says, one day we will need this. So what does he do? He takes those sandals they give you in the hotels and he stashes them. And I go, babe, you are never going to use this. So we have an entire warehouse of stuff that we now have to go through and get rid of. We have three of my stages in this warehouse. And I'm going, we are never going to use this again. So I like declutter. I like really clean spaces. And he just likes to stash it, but he doesn't like to see it. So he has put it all in a warehouse that we now have to. get rid of. But I agree with you. I think that stuff weighs us down. If we're not needing it, we're not using it. Either let's find somebody that needs it and is it's going to be really good for them, or that's just declutter. I think that's an amazing thing to do, and but it takes time. That's the problem, because to go through the stuff, you have to really look at it and
Feel
say,
it.
because
It
some
takes
things
a
are
lot of
important.
time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
I'm
So
I am
literally doing it
zero
right now while it's
attached to
raining.
I'm
Yeah.
everybody,
zero attached to things. I like to give away anything. Whoever comes to my house, I say, go get whatever you want.
But
It's
you
like
get
a mall.
attached. You definitely get attached to some of those things. And when you get rid of them, it feels weird. It kind of feels anxiety. Hello?
yes, yes, we're here.
We're
So,
here, we're here.
yeah, sometimes is detach of the things that they don't have space anymore. We don't, it's important to do that space, even psychologically, it's important, definitely.
I agree with you. I think that sometimes, and by the way, things are attached to energies. I find that
Yeah.
a lot of things from the
Absolutely.
past has great energy. For example, I never get rid of anything that my fans have sent me. Like they send me all kind of amulets and
Art. They
related
give us art.
things, pictures they've drawn of me or letters. I have all the letters that my fans sent me after my accident, because whenever, and I do go through them, and look at them once in a while, and it just reminds me, first of all, of having overcome such a difficult thing in my life,
Hmm.
and having so many people praying for me and sending me positive energies, and those energies are still in those objects for me. So
It's
those are the
beautiful.
kinds of things that are hard to get rid of. Can you, any of you, think of something that's been really difficult for you to get rid of? That,
Mm,
can you think? I know that's a hard question, but
um,
like I still have my report cards that my mom saved for me. All my
Oh
kids'
man.
artwork. I won't get rid of that, but like they
I
don't
don't
want
think you should
it.
ever get rid of that.
No, but they don't want it. So the point is, like, what I do, organize it. And then, like, for example, my son was here with me on Christmas Eve, and I had some boxes of his stuff in the playroom that is now Sasha's playroom, my grandson's. And he really enjoyed looking at these things from the past and did take a couple of things with him. So it made for a special moment. Do any of you have things like that? Or, for example, do you make journals? Do you have diaries or list
Yeah.
of goals you want to make or visualizations?
I, I,
Uh,
I I cannot get rid of letters and all those things that remind me to where I started. And it's boxes of boxes of boxes, but the way you said it, it's prayers, it's good feelings, everything that makes me reminds me why I'm still in the music industry, because it's hard, and I cannot get rid of all those things because those are magnets, those are chains of music, those are feelings, no?
yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else want?
wow.
I think for
I
me,
don't
I think
know.
I for me, I mean, we have we're blessed to be able to have an outlet with music and be writing music and writing
Hmm.
songs and stuff. But I think even when you're not doing that, I think for me, I have my phone on me all the time, and when I have to get out a thought or just a feeling or anything like that, I have to go into my notes and I just say it. I speak into my phone. I don't even have to type it. I don't even, take the time to type it, because then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get, it's gonna be misspelled and this, that. Then you start getting in your head. You just say it, speak into the phone, and then sometimes like a year later I'll see it, or like a voice note, and it's kind of awesome hearing or seeing something that maybe was puzzling you or anything like that, or just like an emotion that you just kind of just
Hmm.
were feeling at that moment. And whether it's that or even journaling or something, I feel like that's a sense of journaling that does help me to kind of like reflect on things sometimes. And sometimes I just let it go. Like I'll say it and I'll do it and I'll forget about it years later. But it's kind of
Hmm.
fun to see it a couple years later and say, oh, wow, look where I am today.
Absolutely.
Jeez,
Definitely.
My
I
journals are
don't know.
Anita, did you weigh in?
I'm here trying to figure out something to find out something that I wouldn't. I wouldn't get rid of because I just don't care about. I'm so not attached to anything.
That's
So like,
lovely.
I'm very like, I think the only thing that now that she mentioned voice notes and things like that, maybe I like keeping the old music that I never released, just so I can listen and like, if I miss like sometimes. But besides that, it's really hard. I'm here at my house looking around and being like, what is here that I wouldn't get rid of? I just don't care. It's
Well,
crazy.
that's a
That's great.
beautiful thing. I know one thing I would never get rid of. I've written all of my songs. I have these books, some of them really big, so that I could write when I was writing a song or something. I like to put all my ideas and write them with my hand. I like that to be a physical thing. And I still have four little sheets of paper from a hotel somewhere in Chicago where
Yeah.
I wrote the lyrics to "Rhythm Is Gonna Get You" on little hotel notes.
Can I have that?
So
How
I
much you
will
selling it
stash
for?
that stuff, and I have it. I would always write the time that I wrote the song, the day. It was usually between midnight and 6 in the morning because my son and my husband couldn't. I wasn't taking time away from them or from anybody in the house. And I love to sometimes look through there and find useful things for future projects. I have some songs that I personally didn't record because they didn't work with what I was doing,
At
but that
that point.
somehow, yeah, somehow have a new life. I know when I wrote the Noel books, I wrote a song that went with the first one, for Noel's Treasure Tale. It was a song that I had written for Michael Jackson when he was going to do an album, and
Wow.
he never ended up doing that album. And the song was called "I Wish I Could Be More to You," and it was coming from the idea of how much we want to be there for our fans,
Hmm.
and how much we wish we could fulfill everything that they want from us in so many ways. And even though that was never to be, when I wrote the book, it then, um, I changed it to "I'm wishing for a friend like you, been wishing for a friend like you." And it came from the point of view of this little dog that came into my life and inspired these children's books. So that's the kind of thing that I would never throw away. Everything else, as far as I'm concerned, can go.
All the notebooks and the diaries, that is hard to get rid of
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you're
Oh,
right. You're
and
right.
also, Mike, and by the way, this is, Emilio won't throw anything away, and I'm happy for that because he has all the clothes that I wore early in my career that I couldn't put on one leg at this moment. But that Emily has actually reused at important moments of her career because she felt them almost like armor, like alayas and things of that nature that it can no longer be made because that designer is no longer with us. These are fashion items that I'm never going to reuse, but she did in moments, and not just to reuse them because they were
Rel-
great pieces, but because,
reliquia.
right, because she felt the energy in them, and it was almost, she felt protected in them. So those kinds of things for me are the only things, and anything that my kids made me. Uh,
Definitely. The Picassos.
exactly. So for this year coming up, all right, I'd love to hear what you guys have cooking on a professional level, because I know that everybody's been put on hold for so long. And I worked through the pandemic in a million different ways. And I'm sure you all did too, because I know, Pau, you've been on tour with Alejandra, right? And is that done? Are you done with that tour?
We just announced the tour. We're gonna start in April, in spring next year. Been working on, the fact that we're being on hold for 24 months at least. I started working very hard in June when I had my first shot of vaccine. And since then, I've been traveling a lot. I've been rebusting all the energy, what I missed the most was to go on stage and to do the sound checks and to be with the band and being with the engineers and everything else. So I hope this time around we won't stop, and I have the best wishes for the next year and for the tour, of course.
Okay, great. Christina, what have you got up your sleeve there?
For me this year, I'm looking for. I'm gonna, hopefully get back into some films. I have a TV show that's gonna be airing on Stars this year, but I love doing stuff behind the scenes. I have a cafe with my best friend. It's a passion project. It's called
Ooh.
Beignet Box. And we opened a beignet joint in Studio City. And since then have two food trucks. And we also have another place in a kiosk. And so that's like my baby. That's my baby with my best friend. And so we're really focused on this year just growing the brand and to open, to franchise the brand out. So that's my thing. And of course to
That.
continue to do all the other great things that I do in entertainment as well.
Yeah, by the way, I love the behind the scenes stuff as well. I mean, we've had
Mm.
restaurants for years because I grew up in the kitchen with my grandmother. So it was something that I did in honor of her. And I think that entertainment, food and music goes together very nicely. So that's been a great
Yes.
way to also diversify because we're women in this industry. Sometimes people will tell us that we have a shorter shelf life, although I would
Yep.
beg to differ. But
Nope.
ready to evolve and grow. Anita, what have you got coming up?
Uh, it's so funny. You said, "What you guys are cooking?" And I was like, Jesus.
I don't cook at all.
Oh, you
That's
cook, you
hilarious.
majorly cook, woman.
Cooking professionally. I was like, cooking professionally. I mean, I know how to cook, but professionally? I was like, so confused. I'm working on new music. Keep doing my big challenge of singing in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Releasing music in these three different languages and trying to maintain everything that I've done in my country also. So I have a bunch of music coming. I have also important concerts and festivals around the world. I'm really happy things are coming back. And I wish in my plans in my mind I'm gonna have 4 vacations at least this year. Let's see if I can get it.
Good for you. And by the way, everybody, the four of us speak Spanish, correct? I know there's a lot of Spanish speaking listeners.
Yeah.
Podemos decirle algo cortito para que ellos también se sientan felices, porque sé que todo el mundo siempre pregunta, ¿por qué en inglés? Y yo le digo, porque es mundial y
Exacto.
desafortunadamente todo el mundo no habla español, pero a todo el público en español quieren decirle rapidito qué es lo que o algún mensaje que quieran darle para el año que viene.
Que los queremos mucho, que los latinos somos los mejores, que nuestro poder es nuestra sonrisa y nuestro, no sé, sex appeal, nuestra calidez. I think we're very close to each other and that makes the difference.
All right. Anybody else, Anita? Or...
Y bueno, yo
Te
quiero
quiero a
decir que
todos. Te quiero.
yo
I
soy
love you guys.
muy, yo soy muy, muy agradecida a la comunidad latina que, bueno, siempre digo esto, pero para mí es muy importante porque yo soy brasileña y para mí llegar a esta cultura nueva, hablando español y cantando español y ser recibida de la manera que la gente me recibe en todos los países de idioma español, que la gente realmente me trata con un cariño muy grande, ¿sabes? Y la gente entiende que no estoy apropiándome de una cultura diferente, quiero mismo es mezclar las culturas, los países, el portugués, español y todo. Y el cariño que recibo yo de la comunidad latina es inmenso, gigante. Y yo soy extremadamente agradecida, muy, muy, muy feliz.
Te queremos, Anita, gustosa. Ven,
Cristina, ¿todavía hablas español?
Te quiero a todos. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate being on the. I appreciate everybody. I always get nervous when people ask me to speak Spanish.
You don't have to. I'm not forcing you. I know a lot of people that, their parents want them to assimilate and then they don't.
No,
Really?
but you know what? I grew up that way, and then I know, and I speak Spanish, and then I get nervous, and then I start fumbling on my words.
No pressure, girl. No pressure. We
te
just
queremos, Cristina.
we wanted to
You know,
give some love to the Spanish fans. I'm
absolutely.
reading some of the comments, and I know that the fans, we'd love to be able to respond to each and every one of you, but there's so many. So that's why we're hoping that our conversation can somehow inspire you and you can hear how we think about these things and how people in this industry not just worried about work and think about their families and success. is wonderful and it's great. We would never say no, I don't want to succeed, but it comes with sacrifice and it comes with giving up certain things. I know before, Anita, when you were mentioning that now you don't cancel anything, the problem is sometimes in this career it's about momentum, and
Yes.
certain
Mm.
things
Yeah.
pop up that are opportunities that if you don't grab right at that moment, they may never come back. So it is really a tough balance, especially for women, because a lot of the times that men that are in this industry or in whatever entertainment, they have their wives or girlfriends or someone else to hold down the fort at home. But
Definitely.
women, we have to do it all. You know,
You're
uh,
right. You're
I was
100% right.
absolutely. I was lucky that my husband was with me and we went as a family, but I don't think that everybody has that luxury. Sometimes your husband does something else completely and he can't take off and tour with you or go to you when you're doing a movie. And you certainly can't be there alone watching the kids sometimes. So it's a sacrifice. I've been very blessed that I've been able to balance that. How has that been for you guys? I know, Anita, you don't have kids yet, but you do have a family that lives, far away from your base of
Yeah.
operation. So I know that it's always a balance and a difficulty. How do you guys balance your family life with your careers? Because that's not an easy thing to do.
I think for me, my husband makes a big deal that we kind of like sacrifice each other's time for, whether it's, as far as career wise, the things that I would say yes, yes, yes all the time. Sometimes he's had to sacrifice time and come with me on set and be with the kids. He doesn't want to be away from the kids. So that's one of the things that he's like, it's more about me sacrificing my time because I love to work. But because he does it, I also do it, and I think it's important. And of course, I want to be with my kids. So, we just have a structure where we kind of like he plans in advance, and I kind of plan as I go. And because he plans in advance, it kind of helps me to kind of know, okay, next September I'm not going to be, physically working on a film or this or that, because I'm going to go with him while he's on tour. And then, and then in 3 months from there, I can go back to work. So luckily I'm able to make that kind of balance with him. And that's one of our things that we just made it, our focus is to make sure we can do that for each other.
It,
That's
it-
great. How
yeah, but
is
I love the fact that you bring it out, Gloria, because it is very hard for girls like us to be back, when after our first kid or the second kid, and we struggle so much to get in shape and to get back on our high
oh, yeah.
heels, and it's not easy, but we push so much to ourselves to do that. And thanks that I have family, but because without my mom, I wouldn't be able to do it, because with the two kids and the new tour and everything is just too much. And when you have the chance to have your own team and your family, without my mother and my family, I don't know what would I do, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. God bless my mother-in-law. She was on tour with me at the beginning because my mom was a teacher and couldn't really, give up her job because that was her only means of support and she loved teaching. But my mother-in-law actually got on a tour bus with my whole band and our opening comedian, all of us on one bus at the beginning because that's all we could afford. And she left Emilio's father at home and said, "No, I'm coming." And she was there for my son Najib, and it was really wonderful. Family is everything, so it really is important to have a support system. And I know that a lot of women out there probably feel the same thing because they have
Yeah.
you got to work nowadays to make ends meet and to be able to raise a family, and that's a big sacrifice that women make in a lot of instances. I don't want to leave the men out. I know there's probably a lot of men as well that are raising kids, maybe as a single dad and everything. So, props to those men as well. And to all the women that balance in their lives and that can be themselves, because I know that at some point women gave everything up, all their goals and dreams. Once they became mothers and homemakers, it's a different world now, thank the Lord. But it's also great for the women that can and want to
Yeah.
decide to be home and be the homemakers and raise a generation. uh, I know we're running out of time, but before we go, I'd love for you each to share any messages that you want to give the people that are listening, anything that you think that contributed to the success that you've lived and to being able to achieve those dreams in your life, so we can share with them to see if there's anything that resonates with them.
Well, I love to write down the things that they're not working anymore. So I write down on a piece of paper and I burn it the last day of the year because I don't want to be thinking in the past. I want to be living the moment, present and time. So one of my spiritual teachers, Yehuda Berg from the Kabbalah, helped me to detach from the past. So that's what I do. I write in a piece of paper all the things that I give away and I start fresh. At least it's a very important exercise.
That's wonderful. How about you, Anita?
Well, I would like to say, as we were talking about like 2022 next year, I would like to say for us to try to educate ourselves on thinking also about the others, not only about ourselves, thinking about our nature, think about this next year, try to think about how we are treating our home, which is planet, the way we are treating nature, the
Yes.
animals, and everything. That's my
Yeah.
biggest wish for next year is that all the humans, all the society start to understand this planet is from all of us. We all own the planet, all the animals, all and we should treat. I think we are very selfish the way we treat the our planet, and I hope next year people start thinking about also not only the humans but also the animals, also the nature, and all these things. They're very important, that without nature we're not going to be alive for a long time.
That is absolutely right. In fact,
True. Indeed.
nature is trying to get rid of us if we don't take care of the
Right.
world,
Yeah.
and nature
Exactly.
Exactly.
will always win. You know,
Exactly.
they're going to survive. How about you, Christina? Any
I
thoughts
just
you
For
share?
me, I say just try to stay grounded. I think take a walk, go outside, do things that are just speaking of nature, just recognize and look at the trees, look at the sky, go to the beach, pray.
Yeah.
I definitely praying is a big part of healing for me. Every day I pray constantly, whether I'm just even making a joke with God. I'm just like recognizing what's happening throughout my day, speaking out loud to myself, and those are the kind of the things that are kind of like therapy to myself. Get check up on your friends, see how they're doing, have conversations, and just be open to growing, and don't overconsume so much where we feel like we have to do so much at once, or we can't handle too much. Sometimes you got to unplug a little.
Hmm.
So that's what those are some of my suggestions, and as well what the ladies said as well. I'm totally with them as well. So if we could be mindful of nature, of one another, and really just give ourselves some peace, so that we can grow and that we can slow down and live in the moment, I think it'll make a big difference.
I absolutely agree with each and every one of you. I believe my mantra is thoughts create reality. And I think that we are all collectively creating the reality that we are living. And for me, that was the recipient of so much prayer 30 years ago, 31 years ago, actually, when I broke my back. And I received prayers from all over the world that I felt like a physical energy around me. I can tell you that that is the first time that I really understood prayer, which
How
is,
strong they are. The
oh
prayers
my
are
God, so
so
much.
deeply strong.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be religious. I think that it's merely the a good thought for someone else without expecting anything in return, or for
Yes.
our collective reality,
What
for
is
the
that? Oh,
life
well,
that we're
the
living.
bus can't go
I
outside.
would love to see more kindness towards each other, more
Yeah.
respect for differences of opinion in this new year coming in 2022. That we try to remember what discourse is like, because social media has given us the opportunity to have a voice, and to be able to comment and have many, many people read those comments. but that doesn't necessarily mean that it should be a vessel for every negative or hateful thought that we put out there, because I really do believe that it's a balance. And when you fill the world or your space or social media with negativity or with uh, you know comments about someone else that might make them feel bad about themselves, I think that you're surrounding yourself with that energy. And I think that we really need to elevate our thoughts and elevate the way we treat each other and put kindness into the world. So if there's someone else that wants to, ladies, you want to say a goodbye to everyone that's been listening? By the way, thank you everybody that's been listening. I hope that something that we've said has resonated with you, or that you've at least gotten to know us a little better. And I hope for everyone in 2022 that all your successes, you good health for everyone, better days for the world and the planet. And ladies, for you, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Room. Uh, it's yours to say goodbye to everyone, Paulina.
Thank you, Gloria. Thanks, girls. Thanks to the audience. I love you guys. Thanks so much for being present, not judgment. Los quiero muchísimo. Try to take time to to be in peace with yourself, not judgment. Practice yoga, and as Christina said, try to do things that grounded. Take some time for taking us the sun, working in the garden, or jump into the ocean, for get rid of all bad energy. I love you, Gloria. Te quiero mucho. All the family, los quiero muchísimo.
Igualmente, Pau.
Thank you, guys. It was amazing. I love you, Gloria. It was nice to meet you, girls. My family is sending many, many kisses. You know, all my family is dead for you, Gloria. So thank you so much for all the listeners, too.
Thank you. Christina, you want to say ciao to everyone?
Yes,
Wow.
ciao. Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was so lovely speaking to you, ladies, and thank you to the audience for listening. I hope that we helped you, step up your game for 2022 and and enjoy the new year.
Thank you so much, Anitta, Paulina Rubio, Christina Milian, and of course, Sasha Estefan, who was with us a couple of moments before we all got started, sharing his perspective. Thank you for hanging out with me on Facebook today.
Thank
A
you.
huge thank you to the listeners, and we
Thank
all
you,
wish
Gloria. A todos los fans.
yes, happy and safe New Year's Eve for everyone, and a
Yes.
very happy and a new 2022 with good health, hopefully, and things getting better. And we
Yes.
hope to talk to you all very soon. My love to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I send a hug to all of you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Besos. Ciao, Gloria. Bye,
Ciao.
Chris. Bye, Anita. Mwah.
And thank you, all the listeners. Thank you for being with us. We love you guys. Thanks for taking time out of your day to share some time with us. All the best always.
Perdóname, hijo mío, estaba trabajando. Me hablabas. Perdón. Sí, es el novio de Kenia. No, no, no lo agarren, porque aparte son todas las tarjetas del niño ese.